All right, hello my bookish friends, welcome back. I'm Elizabeth, this is Reading Wryly. We're starting a reading vlog where I am going to read the books that you recommended. I've been keeping tabs. I have a separate album in my phone for whenever you guys give me book recommendations on my comments on YouTube, on Instagram, etc. So I've been kind of going through that and I picked 4 books that I want to try for this reading vlog. Let me tell you about them. Let me tell you what they are. The first book that I'm going to be reading is The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. I've heard about this one for a long time. I've heard so many good things. It is time, and I just found the audiobook on Audible for free. So if you have an Audible membership, check that out. I love it when I find an Audible audiobook for free. It's great. Okay, I think this is like a dystopian future type thing set in Britain, and we're following this guy in the not too distant future, a deer. It says, a deer is sitting the British citizenship test. I don't know what sitting the test. I guess that means just like taking the test? Taking? Is that slang? Is that British slang? Anyway, it's supposed to be 25 multiple choice questions, and this is going to secure his fate as a citizen or not. But it says that the test takes an unexpected and tragic turn when a deer is given the power of life or death. And then it says, how do you value life or death based on multiple choice? I don't know where this is going. I have no idea what to expect. I'm also going to be reading The Husbands by Chandler Baker. Of all 4 of these, I think the 2 of these have the most in common. They kind of have a dystopian feel to me, but I don't know for sure. The Husbands has a 3.5 on Goodreads, so I'm a little bit skeptical, but the premise sounds way too relatable for me. In fact, I think this might trigger me. We'll see. It says that this novel asks what lengths a woman will go in order to get more help from her husband. Oy. Oi, 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 oi. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but if you do, then you're probably aware of the husband saga that I've been going through. If you're not aware, I asked my husband one day, what do I do with this tool? It's just a tool laying around. I don't know what these things are. He said, leave it there. I'll take care of it. So I did. And then I thought, you know what? He's not going to take care of it. It's going to sit there. And so I put a poll on Instagram. This was the beginning of December. 36 days since my husband said, leave it there. I'll take care of it. It sat there for 36 days. And it took everything in me not to say something about it. 36 days. And you know what? Women in general work longer work days than men. If this book goes there, this could be really good. This could like be one of those that like pumps me up and gets me going. We'll see. I didn't even read the rest of the description. I have no idea. Okay, it says Nora Spangler is a successful attorney, but when it comes to domestic life, she packs the lunches, schedules the doctor appointments, knows where the extra paper towel rolls are. Oh my God, I'm relating. Although I wish I was an attorney. I'm not, clearly. And designs and orders the holiday cards. I don't do that. Her husband works hard too, but why does it seem like she's always working so much harder? Why is that, Nora Spangler? When the Spanglers go house hunting in Dynasty Ranch, an exclusive suburban neighborhood. Oh, Nora meets a group of high-powered women, a tech CEO, a neurosurgeon, an award-winning therapist, a best-selling author with enviably supportive husbands. Okay. I think this is gonna be like reverse Stepford. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that right now because I think I know where it's going and I like it. Another book that I'm gonna read that I'm a little bit reticent about, it's kind of a longer book. It's by an author that I have not read from before, but y'all recommended this to me and it sounds right up my alley. And it has a 4.10 on Goodreads. It's Trust Your Eyes by Linwood Barclay. So we're following this man, Thomas Kilbride. It says he's a map-obsessed schizophrenic. It sounds like he rarely leaves his bedroom and his brother is kind of his caretaker, does all of the outside things for him. Thomas sees something from outside of his window in New York City and he thinks he sees a woman being murdered. Okay, ooh. All right, now here's the thing. Are they going to use the schizophrenia in a way that is not harmful? I don't know. It sounds like they're using the schizophrenia as an unreliable narrator trope, which can be okay, but also cannot. So we'll see. I don't know this author. So we'll see about that. So when Thomas tells his brother Ray what he thinks he saw, Ray kind of appeases him with this little half-hearted investigation, but this investigation actually leads to things that make them believe they may have fallen upon some deep-rooted conspiracy. It could be really good. We'll see. And then the next book I've already started. I'm probably like 40% into it right now. It's called All the Dark Places by Terry Parlato. We have two perspectives of two women, Molly and Terry. Terry is a seasoned detective, and so far I really like her character. Molly's been married to her husband Jay for 3 years. He is a psychologist. Like that, we like that. This is a thriller. Did I say that? It's a thriller. She and him are like lovey-dovey, like they're so in love, so you know that's not gonna last, right? They get together. So the opening scene, they're getting ready for this party. It's Jay's birthday. You know what's really weird is that today I think is the 7th, January 7th, and I started reading this on the 5th. His birthday was January 4th, and as we're reading the day after, it's January 5th. In the book at the time that I was reading it. Weird. So weird when that happens. Anyway, side note. They have this party with their closest friends. Everybody is just whining, dining, having a good time, and then they go to bed, and Molly wakes up the next day and Jay is dead. His throat's been slit. We gotta figure out what's going on. Terry, of course, is on the case. I don't know why I picture her in my head as Karen Slaughter, but she's just got that vibe, that like kind of like I don't give a shit vibe, but down to earth and chill. Like, I've been doing this for so long, I know what's up, you can't pull anything past me kind of vibe. So I guess what the story is about as it unfolds is that we don't know if Jay might have this kind of unseemly past that we don't know about, or if one of the people in their friend group actually murdered him. Also, Molly has something in her past that she's not talking about. So she is hiding from the media. She is just waiting for the media to be showing up at her door and figuring out who she is. Something went on, we don't know. Oh yeah, the husband, the psychologist Jay, the one who died, he also was in the midst of writing a book about sociopathy. So that's interesting to me as well. And they're kind of catching on to see like, oh, he was visiting people in prison. There's things about his life that Molly didn't know about. So far, it's fine. I think the writing is fine. I like that we get the perspective of both women. So I will check back in with you guys probably when I finish this, and then we'll start the next one. Let's do it. It's the next day. I got my workout in. We slept in really late, but it's Sunday, so you know what? Don't care. I cannot wait to get my hair cut. I've got a hair appointment in a couple weeks, but like this is just, it's out of control. It's out of control. Remember when my hair actually used to have a shape? Ah, the good old days. Okay, so sorry, my washer dryer on, so you can probably hear that. So my apologies. Let's talk about All the Dark Places. First of all, I think I called the female detective Terry. And if not, then I just did in my head at least. So I'm sorry, her name was not Terry. It was Rita. Rita, that was it. I ended up really liking her character. Molly, so-so. I thought some of the characters were underdeveloped. It's not anything that I'm going to remember. In fact, I probably have already forgotten a lot of it just after falling asleep. But I thought it was fun. The twist there... The big twist, I felt like it was one of those twists that just comes out of nowhere, like you couldn't have guessed it. There weren't clues leading to it. And that's kind of a hard thing to judge because sometimes I like having the clues where I can guess it and sometimes I don't. But I think there's a balance in there that this one just didn't meet. But then there was a reveal after that I did like and appreciate. It didn't go where I thought it was going to go. So you would think that I would have been like, oh my God, it's amazing, it tricked me. But for some reason, I just wasn't connected to it at all, really. Like a lot, well, I mean, it's part of the way it was. There was just something about it that did not draw me. There were times while I was listening to it that I was just kind of fading out, like did not care. But overall, I thought it was fine. I think I'm going to give this 3 stars. It doesn't stand out for me. I think maybe I've been reading too much gory stuff because it felt very light. It felt very thriller light to me. Even though it does have some really dark themes, it just didn't go there like I like my authors to go there. You know what I mean? I still appreciate you guys recommending me these things, and I still recommend books if I give them 3 stars. Even if I'm not in love with these books, like I still appreciate the recommendation. And books are subjective. We all have different experiences, and even if it's a great book, if you read it at the wrong time, then it won't hit, you know? So please don't be offended if I don't absolutely love all of these. We're just taking it as it is. No judgment. I appreciate you guys for giving me the recs one way or another. So I think I'm going to start The Husbands next, because that one it's the most exciting sounding for me at this moment, where it's got that like Stepford Wives type of vibe. Today, I really don't have much else to do other than finish taking down the Christmas tree, just doing some cleaning around the house. It's Sunday, we're relaxing, we're chilling. So I'll check in with you when I have something to tell you. No. What's on your nose? Oh my god. What? Rip, what is on your nose? That better not be shit. I swear to God, that better not be shit. Is that dirt? Is it dirt or poop? Rip. Were you being bad? Did you dig? Mm-hmm. I don't know how many days I've been taking this, but I'm feeling great. It's 8 a.m. I got my workout in, I'll take a shower, get ready for work. That's a good shake. Still really enjoying this, you guys. Magic Mind. It is a productivity shot. I don't know if you saw my last video. This is so cool. Adaptogens, nootropics, immunity, all the good things. Give it a good shake. Hi. Good morning. I know that I've been talking about Magic Mind and you've been seeing me work out in the mornings and all of that. I want to make sure that you know this is not a pre-workout. It has nothing to do with that. It is a productivity shot, and it's kind of coming at the perfect time in my life right now because obviously in the beginning of the year, how real do I want to get right now? Let's think. Okay, so hold on, I'm also working. Now I forget what we're talking about. We're talking about my life. So I'm trying to get in shape. I am also trying to be sober for January. I'm sober curious. I do like a glass of whiskey after work to like wind down at the end of the night, sometimes 2. And I've now gone a week without a drink. You know, I just feel different. I feel like I believe in myself. And anyway, all that to say that like this isn't for that, but it's definitely helping me stay focused as I am going through this process of trying to get into an exercise routine, trying to eat healthy. And like this book says that I'm reading, okay, The Husbands, let's talk about The Husbands. Women can do anything, but they can't do everything. And that is a quote in this book that I absolutely love and that has been on my mind since I picked it up. And I'm trying to do everything right now, but I have to give myself grace. We all have to give ourselves grace. Like, I can't stay sober, exercise every day, eat everything healthy, take care of the nugget, take care of the dogs, take care of myself, clean up the house, do all the things. Like, I have to give myself grace. I'm not perfect, but I do feel like my mind, like something has clicked in my mind, and I am committed to at least trying out, you know, dry January, at least seeing what happens. I feel like my skin's looking better already and I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling good. Anyway, about this book, I do also want to mention I love my husband, but this is going to trigger me. And I feel like we all go through this with our significant others. There are certain things, especially as women, we feel like The burden is on us. And that is what this book is about. It's everything that this book is about. I'm loving it so far. It had this intro where it's like, just imagine this. Just imagine this world. And then it gives you so many examples of little things every single day that I do that I'm relating to so much. I am relating to this main character so much. Nora, first of all, she's 35. She's got curly hair. She lives in Texas. Hi, me. Although I'm gonna be 36 in like 6 days. This is written in third person present tense, which is a little bit different, but I like it. So as we're getting to know Nora, it's like in the moment, but we're learning also about her relationship with her husband, Hayden, and she is a high-powered attorney. She's a badass bitch, okay? She's also got a toddler and she is pregnant. And Hayden just disappears when things need done, you know, and she mentions all these little things throughout the day that we do that you don't even think about, you just do it, and that Hayden wouldn't even think about. She was describing Hayden and she's like, I never imagined myself growing up to be the kind of woman that would marry a man with an arm tattoo. And I was like, what? Like,
that's weird. Okay.
I don't know, maybe Chandler Baker is conservative. I don't know. My husband has tons of arm tattoos and I like it, but I thought that was weird. But there's also another quote. Let me see if I wrote it down. Sometimes, meaning at all times, obviously, she feels as if there are no spare folds of her brain in which to cram the minutia of their lives, which she's been charged with tracking. I relate, totally relatable. So anyway, they've got a new baby coming. They have to find a new home. And so they're house shopping, but Nora is obviously the one on top of it. Hayden can wait, but she's like, you know what?
Why wait? We have a baby coming. Why not have time to get settled in?
You know, why wait till that last minute, which is so relatable again. So they go to this neighborhood to check out this house. As they're coming into the neighborhood, they see a house that has been burnt to the ground. They're like,
oh, what happened? This is like a newer community. Like, what's going on there?
It's kind of hard to get into this neighborhood, but if some people get sponsored, and so there is this group of high-powered women, these ladies who tell her, hey, our friend is going through it right now. Her house just burned down. Her husband died in a fire. She needs a personal injury lawyer. Maybe if you help us out and, you know, take on the case, we can get you into the neighborhood. And she's like, I don't know. It seems like a conflict of interest, but she's kind of thinking it over in her head. So I'm interested to see what happened to this husband, but I'm interested to see where this is going because their husbands are cognizant. They are helpful. They know what's going on. So anyway, I'm really liking it so far. I'm really not even that far in. I'm maybe like 20% in. I don't know why this has such a low rating because it's really good so far. I'm hoping it just gets really, really weird, and that's why, because some people just didn't like the weirdness. Because if that's the case, I will probably like it, but we'll see. Okay, we need to talk about the husbands. It's the next day. I'm working, I'm eating fruit. Yeah, this is what's happening. So I have not finished the husbands yet, but I need to talk to you about it because I have so many notes that I've been taking and it's just too much information. I cannot wait until I'm finished reading this book to talk to you about it because it's too much. I love it. I'm obsessed. I'm so excited. So far, this is a 5-star book. This is social horror. I love it. Okay, so it's triggering me, obviously, but I think this is why I love this genre. And I started thinking about it last night, and I think the catalyst for my love of this genre was the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, because I related to that main character like I'm relating to her, like I'm relating to Nora. I think at first I was just really uncomfortable with it because it made me confront things that I don't like confronting. But I think as I've read more and more and more, I've gotten more comfortable sitting with that feeling, kind of sitting with those emotions. And that, for me, is what makes a book stick. It's what makes it stick in my mind. It's what makes it stay with me. And it's what makes it worth reading, even though it makes me feel uncomfortable. And it's what makes it worth writing as well. Okay, so Nora's up for partner at her firm. I'm gonna put the fruit down. They were like,
look, we don't know about your billable hours. It's maybe not enough.
She's like, what do you mean? I thought they were on target. They're like,
yeah, but we're looking at all of the past years as well. And so...
she's like,
I took maternity leave. Like, what else? What are you talking about?
And she's like,
Yeah, and then there was that other time when there was that accident.
and so we know that there's this accident in her past and has something to do with her daughter, Liv. This is not paced like I thought it was going to be paced. I thought that at the beginning, when they were house hunting, this was going to be the beginning of the story when they like moved into this house. That's not the case at all. I am almost done with this book. They still have not moved into this house, but it's all about this kind of connection between the women that live in this community. She wants to move into this community, but she's also handling the case for Penny, whose husband died in the fire. And so they're kind of holding that over her as a way to get her to investigate the case favorably for them. Also, every once in a while, it's not like every other chapter, but every so often there is an interjection with mixed media, which you know I love, that has this kind of pithy online article title about moms and women, and then it has all of this like threads of comments underneath from women and men and just kind of like social arguments that's happening. And that's separate from the actual story that's happening, but it sets the tone for what we're going through as well. So I really love that. This is doing for heterosexual marriage what Any Man did for sexual assault against women. Like I said, there is definitely this like Stepford vibe, but it's like in reverse. So that like turning the tables, it just makes you look at the whole situation and think, oh my God, this is so silly. So when you have this group of men sitting around talking about label makers and organizational bloggers and stain removal techniques, it's just like, it's silly. You look at it and you're like, that's silly. But we do that because of the pressures that we have to be a woman in the society. And that's just kind of the consequence of it. That is the result of it. That's not the problem, but it's the result of the pressure that women are under in the patriarchy. Oh my God, there's so much to say. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to give too much away, but there is a discussion here about the merging of psychology and neurology. When you go to talk therapy and when you talk to a therapist, your brain literally changes. Any behavior you do, your brain literally changes. Your brain changes based on your behavior. But once you stop doing those behaviors, those neural pathways, they close back up. And so the discussion in here is what happens if we find a way scientifically to keep those neural pathways open and to make it permanent. And so that's just like a really interesting conversation to have anyway, aside from the social commentary in this. Like if that was possible, wow, the implications would be insane. Also, I'm convinced now that Chandler Baker has something against tattoos. She brought up the tattoos again with Hayden, the husband, and then she also said something about a kindergarten teacher's tattoos. Oh, also, Chandler Baker is an attorney and lives in Austin. And so all of the like attorney stuff and all of the Texas stuff, it's coming from an informed place, which I appreciate. But I do think she's probably more conservative than me. But anyway, I'm loving this book so far. I can't wait to see how it ends. Honestly, like this is 5-star material right here. My mind has been going, like it pinches a nerve, this kind of social commentary. It pinches a nerve. It makes you stop and question your surroundings, question your life and your behaviors and your attitudes. And that's what I love about it. It's so great. It's really good. Thank you for suggesting this to me. Watch me come back now and be like, the ending sucked. I still don't understand why this only has 3.5 stars. And so I'm a little bit worried about the ending, but we'll see. I am working today. I think later I'm going to, on my lunch break, I have to go drop a box off at the post office for a Pango book that I sold, and then I have to go to the library. I'm excited. I put like a ton of books on hold. I'll show you guys if you want. You guys suggested weird books to me on Instagram. I just wanted like all kinds of weird books. And so I put as many of them as I could find on hold at the library. And I think I'm going to do try a chapter. So I will show you which ones I got once I get that. But I'm going to do that on my lunch break. So it's going to be another busy day. Get back to it. So these are the books that you guys told me were weird books. We have Sawkill Girls, Good Neighbors, Severance, The Harpy, Follow Me to Ground, Tinfoil Butterfly, The Echo Wife, A Touch of Jen, which I actually owned and have not read, Eileen, Catherine House. Oh gosh, my stack's gonna fall. And Honey's. That is a lot of books. I also was able to pick up a couple of books that we're reading for this vlog, including this one, The Husbands. Timber. Okay. Work is done, workout's done, shower is done. I'm gonna make dinner and I'm going to make an old-fashioned with this. I got it on Amazon and it is alcohol-free whiskey. I've never tried anything like this before, so we're gonna see if it tastes like shit. Honestly, I'm expecting it to taste like shit. No, no, that smells bad. Ugh. I don't know about this. Okay. All right, let's see how it is. It doesn't smell good. It doesn't. Not even close. If anything, this tastes, it's kind of got like a peatiness to it, like a Scotch would have, but it tastes thin. It's definitely got a little bit of smokiness in there. Like the flavors, what does this say? Warm caramel, stone fruit, black peppercorn, prickly ash, toasted spices. Like I'm getting those things, but it still doesn't taste like whiskey. Yeah, that's pretty gross. Yeah. Okay, we're back. It's the next day. And I finished The Husbands and I started the Linwood Barclay. So let's talk about both. The Husbands is a 5-star book. 100% 5 stars. No denying it. I loved it. I loved every single piece of it. I loved the ending. I loved it. There's a discussion in there that's really cool actually about how every story starts with what if. And so this story itself starts with what if you could make your husband more supportive? What if you could make him behave in a way that allows you to be your best self? Would you? That is the question. It's a moral dilemma. It's a moral question of would you? Would you do it? Even if it meant taking away his autonomy. And this takes me to A Clockwork Orange because it's kind of the same question that's being posed in A Clockwork Orange, is that if we say this is the right thing to do and you make someone do it, even though it's right, it's still wrong to do that to somebody, because if we take away our autonomy, then what's the point? Then there's no humanity there. There's no humanity. But with this whole question about men versus women and domesticity and all of that, like men have been controlling our bodies for centuries. They still do to this day. They control our bodies. They take our autonomy. So is it okay for us to just go ahead and do that right back? Does that make us just as bad? The whole question of this, it's a very interesting take on human nature, humanity. I love it. I think it's great. Again, loved the ending. I already bought a copy of it. That's gonna go on my shelves. Very excited. Awesome. Love it. Let's talk about Trust Your Eyes by Linwood Barclay. So I think I'm like 40% into this and not loving this one as much. It's a little bit of a struggle for me right now. I'm on the struggle bus, especially following this. It's hard because this is written by a man, written by an older man, and that is
So clear.
I feel disconnected from this. The story itself is fine. I don't think it's using the schizophrenia in a way that is problematic. Thomas, our main character, is a very endearing character. He's obviously got some stuff going on. I don't know that this is that the representation of schizophrenia is accurate. It seems like he did the research. It seems all right to me, but I don't know. Thomas and Ray, they're brothers. Their dad recently died. Their dad used to take care of Thomas, and he had this accident on his lawnmower where he constantly would, instead of like, they have this hill on their property, and instead of going up and down the hill on the lawnmower, he always did it sideways, and he would kind of lean into the hill so that it wouldn't flip. Before his wife died, she would always tell him, don't do it like that, it's going to kill you one day, and then it did. It flipped over on him. But Ray thinks it's suspicious, like maybe he was depressed, he knew something, there was something going on. Meanwhile, Thomas never leaves his room, not because he's agoraphobic, but because he's obsessed with essentially Google Maps. In this book, it's called World 360, but it's Google Maps. And so he thinks that he's working for the CIA as an operative. He thinks that there's going to be this huge virus, computer virus, that takes down all computers in the future. And it is on him to memorize every street in the world so that when this virus happens, the CIA can come to him and he can tell them how to get anywhere from anywhere. And he's memorizing these maps, pictures of the maps all over his house, just constant, just everywhere. It's an obsession, it's a compulsion. He actually thinks he's talking to former President Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is his liaison to the CIA. It's just like a whole world in his own mind. So he's not actually in New York City, but he sees on Google Maps, on World 360, this woman in a window with a white bag over her head, and it looks like she's being suffocated. And like that would have happened just as the like Google car drove by. Also, we're following several other people who are, I guess, involved in this conspiracy. There's a politician. His wife apparently had an affair with a woman. The woman is threatening to out her, and so they're like going to pay her off. There's also like one character in here that is a skis ball. I'm not offended by that. Like, that's the character, and the way he's behaving towards women is not offensive to me. What is weird to me, I wouldn't say offensive, but it's the way that this author just describes things, which makes me feel like it's his voice, his authorial voice that's coming through. For example, she was carrying a purse that looked like it could fit no more than a jackhammer and a dozen cinder blocks. If that is not the manliest simile I've ever heard, then I don't know what is. I don't think I could connect with this author. I just don't. It's like, it's written by men for men. BMFM. I'm gonna try to keep pushing through. I don't think it's poorly written. I don't think it's going to be a bad story. I just, especially after the husband's not connecting with this right now, so we'll see. I'm actually watching the Stepford Wives right now too, just because I just finished The Husbands, and I'm feeling the vibe. I'm feeling the vibe. I forgot how good this movie is. I forgot Bette Midler's in this movie, and there's so many good actors in here, so actually really enjoying this.
Now you are keeping your cadence above 60 the entire climb.
Okay, it's Thursday. I did not finish the Linwood Barclay book last night. I did, however, find an interesting twist in there that I did not see coming. So props to that. It's, you know, it's coming up a little bit. I'm giving it a little bit more lenience. Still the like man writing. But what can you do? It's written by a man. Like I can't fault him for that, I guess. It's just not for me quite, but that twist, that was good. Very well done. A travesty has occurred. I broke my Peloton. So I just bought a piece to put on the touchscreen so that it can swivel around. And that way I can do like the cardio stuff or the yoga and just flip the screen around, do it on the floor in front of it. And I did last night and it was great. Super excited. Then I went to swivel the screen back around, and instead of turning it like this and moving it, I just went boop, and then I broke the cables. I broke the cables that plug into the touchscreen. Just like broke them off. Devastating. Such a setback. I'm really sad because it's hard enough for me to like get myself to work out as it is, and now I have this excuse. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out for tonight. So sad. But we did order the part. Should be here in a few days. We'll see. I'm just mad at myself for that. Try not to let it get me down. So anyway, today my goal is to finish the Linwood Barclay and also finish the test if I can. I realized that this is a much shorter book than I thought it was. The audio is only 2 hours, which I don't really trust. I'm gonna double check because it was free on Audible. I'm afraid I got like an abridged version, but maybe it's just a novella. Maybe it's just a short book. So if that's the case, I think I can finish them both today. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. And we'll see how it goes. I am working right now as usual. And there's the phone.
I've always been interested in the concept of doing like an author taste test.
We're back. All right, so let's talk. I ended up doing a Chloe Ting workout on YouTube last night, and it actually was really short, and I did a lot of squats, and I'm feeling a lot more sore today than I expected to feel. So I guess it's good that I switched it up a little bit. But I do want to be clear, okay, that even though I'm like on this journey for myself, please don't have this expectation that you have to take up less space. I'm beautiful as I am. You are beautiful as you are. And I know that's hard for us. It's hard for me. There's a difference between knowing it and feeling it. And so I'm still on that journey to feel that acceptance of myself and of my body. But I preach it. Because what comes out of my mouth, what thoughts are in my head and what comes out of my mouth are what change the shape of my brain and what form my own perception of myself and for you as well. So I just want you to know that we can make our own choices and we do not have to give in to societal expectations. I am beautiful, you are beautiful just the way you are, and I love you for that. So I just wanted to make that very clear. Okay, let's talk about these books. Oh shit, my battery's gonna die. Okay, so I finished Trust Your Eyes. I gotta give this a little bit more credit than I had initially because there was another twist in there that I thought I knew where this was going. I really thought I knew where this was going and I didn't. This is a thriller, but it's more of like a conspiracy, a political intrigue and action type thriller. I just didn't enjoy it like I wanted to, like I thought I was going to. But that being said, this is a really good version of that. This is like, it did what it was set out to do. I can totally see why this has 4.1 on Goodreads. Makes complete sense to me. And this author is very clever. The way he set up the twists was very well done. And aside from this political intrigue, there is a personal mystery going on in these two men's lives, and these two brothers' lives that has to do with their dad. And so that kind of brought it all together, and that part I was a lot more connected to. This has two big twists in it. Neither one of them I saw coming. And then it also has a last minute zinger. So we love a last minute zinger. I'm going to give this though, because it just wasn't my style of writing, I'm going to give it 3.5. While I was reading it and I was intrigued, I was just kind of waiting for it to be over. I could have DNF'd this easily, but I'm glad I finished it because it did end up surprising me. But I'm going to give this 3.5. And that said, I also finished reading The Test by Sylvan Neuvel. It's only 108 pages. It's a super short little novella and it packs a punch. And it has a lot to say about migrancy, about xenophobia, about ethno-nationalism. There is so much going on in there. And it's definitely my type of dystopia. It's kind of in between a dystopian future and like a techno thriller, I'd say. There is a technological element in here that we're not necessarily there yet. So I like that. We're following Adir and his wife Tidir and their two children, and he is sitting, which I guess is not a weird thing to say, the British Values Assessment Citizenship Test. And it's a 25 question test, multiple choice. He only gets to number 5 when he hears a gunshot go off. That's all I'm going to tell you about the plot. But we know, like I mentioned earlier, that he is put in a position where he has to choose between life and death. So I'm not going to give you the twist. I'm not going to give you the details because it is so short, but I am going to tell you just a few of the things that it touches on and what I really liked about this. This test, in essence, along with other things, is made to weed out extremists. And so the way it's set up especially is for that. As he's taking the test, he gets points one way or another, and that determines whether he and his family can become citizens. So this is huge for him. He is fleeing Iran, him and his family, because they were put in harmful situations there, unsafe situations, and so they have come to Great Britain in order to be free of that. There are some other discussions in here that I thought were really interesting too, like game theory. If you're not familiar with game theory, it's originally a mathematical kind of theory or equation, but it can be applied to so many other aspects of life, to logic, to social commercial interest to science. And it essentially says that it's a two-person zero-sum game, meaning that one person's gains are equal and balanced with another person's losses. So you cannot both win. One has to win, one has to lose to an equaling degree. Sorry, my battery died. I'm losing my light. It's also talking about choice and asking if being given a choice is liberating. Or is it not? Sometimes it's not, I think, which is interesting. Yeah, a lot of social commentary in here that I absolutely love. Thought it was concise, to the point, enough in that short amount of time to connect the reader to the story and build the world, and then also say what it wanted to say, and it's saying a lot. Let's talk about all of these books. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, I did not put forward any guesses at the beginning of this as to which book I thought I was going to like the most or the least or what have you, but I think it's fair to say now that my least favorite of these books is All the Dark Places. Unfortunately, this is a new release, so I hate to say that, but I don't think it's a bad book. I just think that it doesn't stand out for me. I think it's just fine, and I think there are definitely going to be people who enjoy this book. In the next spot is going to be Linwood Barclay's Trust Your Eyes. Again, this was a good book. Like, this was actually a really, really well-written book. I just personally don't connect with the author and his writing style and his authorial voice. And on top of that, the kind of thriller that it is, I don't typically go for political thrillers. I like legal thrillers, but political thrillers, not so much. And I think there's a fine line there. But as far as what this book was trying to do, I think it absolutely did what it set out to do. And I completely understand why this has such a high rating on Goodreads. And I think there are definitely going to be people maybe that find this book from this video and who will really, really enjoy this. Next, in second place, is The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. Really love this. And I just actually discovered that he participated in the book version of Black Mirror. So a lot of people do compare this book, The Test, to Black Mirror. That's one of my trigger words. If you say Black Mirror about a book, I'm in, like 100% in. And I guess there is a book that is the literary version of the TV show called The Black Mirror Book Volume 1. And Sylvain Neuvel is one of the writers, so I have to see if I can get my hands on that. We just talked about this. I won't get too deep into it. I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. I would have loved for it to be a little bit longer, and I would have loved to get to know some of the characters on the outside a little bit deeper. I think this concept could have been a full-length novel. And then in first place, we have The Husbands by Chandler Baker. I am so glad I read this book. I love it. It does everything that I could ask for in a book. It's got feminism in there, it's got a thriller in there, it's got some aspects of horror in there. It has a nice little zipper at the ending as well. I loved how this ended, although I don't think everyone will love how this ended. I absolutely did. I loved the interjections with the online articles within it. I thought it was so clever, very well written, and just like right up my alley. How have I not read this yet? When you pick up a book and you say, how have I not read this yet? You know it's a good one, because this one is everything that I'm looking for in a book. Honestly, I wish I would have picked this for a book club book, because I think it would just be so much fun to discuss. Thank you all so much for hanging in with me, for recommending me these books, for all of the other books that you've recommended as well. I'm keeping tabs on them. Don't worry, I'll probably do this again and get some more of those recommendations in and just see where it goes. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Don't forget that life is short, so read Wryly. Cheers and goodbye.